It's okay to find meaning in your suffering. It's okay to not feel great all the time. It's good to sometimes be neutral. Spiritual practice is so important on any day, but especially the bad days.
What has your experience been for your own life, but also for your clients, when somebody goes from not having a meditation practice to really implementing a consistent meditation practice? What happens?
Welcome to the High Vibe Life podcast, where we are obsessed with all things manifestation, neuroscience, personal growth, and quite simply, living a life beyond our wildest dreams. I'm Moira, author, speaker, podcaster, manifestation, and mindset master. Since getting sober 25 years ago, I've helped tens of thousands of women break through and achieve massive levels of wealth, joy, and freedom. Now it's your turn. Let's dig in.
Welcome back to the High Vibe Life podcast with me, Moira, tuning in from my living room today because of some complications at the studio, but we are pivoting and going with the flow. I've got my brand new friend, Erin Doppelt, in the house today. Erin, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
This is so fun. I'm already having such a blast. Thank you for having me.
Well, I am so excited to dig deep into everything you do. You know, we were chatting right before we hit record. It's like we're just sisters from a different mister, right? We're so passionate about the same things in life. We're pursuing a lot of the same things. We're teaching a lot of the same things in the world. So before we dig in, will you kind of just give me, if you would, like your backstory? I always love to know, like, what's the story behind how you got into this work and what led you here?
Beautiful. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's true for a lot of us, but my professor, Dr. Lisa Miller, I studied at Columbia. She has this amazing book called The Awakened Brain. And it essentially says that when you move through a mental health obstacle, anxiety, depression, negative thought patterns, instead of pushing that bad, uncomfortable feeling state away, you leaned in, you doubled your devotion, you built a spiritual practice. So for me, I was a very spiritual child, but it wasn't nurtured, right? I grew up in Chicago to a Jewish family. And this idea of deepening your spirituality, there wasn't a lot of education on it or nourishment on it. So you almost forget, right? You forget this connection. And I went to college and I was a typical sorority girl and I was anxious, just good old textbook anxiety. And instead of going to therapy, instead of choosing medication, I went to a yoga class, and I went to a meditation course, and I got into Kriya and Kundalini. And I went kind of back into organized religion, but essentially after having a really good corporate job for a year after undergrad, I listened to this deep calling and I moved to Israel. And I lived in Israel and I learned to live off the land, and I studied with shaman in the Israeli desert at this very specific ashram, lived in many different kibbutzim and moshavim, which is like communal living spaces. And ultimately that led me to India, and I worked in the slums of Mumbai for my first 2 months in India, teaching hygiene projects, lived in many different ashrams and spiritual centers, studied yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, functional medicine, nutrition, lived in silence for a while, dated a famous Indian news anchor, accidentally joined a cult, like crazy shit, right? Like really, I just leaned in quite deeply.
Really my people.
Yeah. And I think you have to, right? Because when you're exploring truth, you have to like understand what that even looks like for you.
Well, and can I ask you a quick question? Because this is just coming up for me. And I'm guessing it's both, but while you were doing all of that journey you just kind of mentioned right there, was it for you spiritually and personally, or did you know you were pursuing this for like education and this was a kind of a teaching field you were going to go into?
That was the greatest hope and dream, right? So it came from a place of, oh my God, I want to go eat Indian food and like live in India and study how the other side of the world connects to God. And also, when I was living in a mostly silent ashram in South India, I got my acceptance letter to Columbia University, and I have my master's in clinical psychology and education. And that's where I hang out, this Eastern ritual, this Western psychology. But like, I was 23 when I moved to Israel. I was 24 when I moved to India. These are things that I've integrated for more than a decade plus. And now I'm really into, and similar to you, we keep growing, we keep studying, we follow that curiosity. I think love of learning is my greatest strength, as it is, I'm sure, for you and so many of our soulmate clients. And I'm all in on Kabbalah right now. So I'm like very deep in on educating on Kabbalah and studying.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I relate to so much of that. And I absolutely love, because I think it's hard to find that balance, right? Where on the spectrum of Eastern, Western, of traditional, of the woo, it's like most people are one extreme or the other. And I think even if you're living somewhere in the middle, not that many people are actually rooted in both and pulling from both, right? And I can say the exact same. It's like, even when I was kind of more on the physical route of learning, I was like, the Eastern and the Western philosophies of medicine, I was like, wait, I think we're supposed to be doing both. Like, why is everybody doing one or the other? And then stepping into the spiritual, it's the exact same thing, right? So tell me, you've studied this, you've kind of immersed yourself in it. I just love that you have like this psychology degree from Columbia and then this, joined a cult, lived in India background. Uh-huh. So where did it transition? Like when you came back, when did you come back to the States?
I always come home. So that's if you've read Paulo Coelho's book, The Alchemist, it's the miracle is always back home. My husband and I are from the same little town outside of Chicago. We're here right now for the summertime, kind of deciding our next steps. I have a 20-month-old daughter, and everything really, as I'm sure you know, like once you have kids, everything shifts, right? It's like, I always feel like I don't need to do ayahuasca because I'm a mother and I had a natural labor and I pursued that like hippy dippy path. So I'm definitely having that teaching right now of my husband. We live in Costa Rica in the winter. I just had a retreat in Tuscany. We just got back from Italy and France. My daughter's already been to 6 different countries. She speaks like French and Spanish every now and then. Like, it's just, all these things are up in the ether. And I think the greatest lessons are, how often can you walk yourself back home?
Yes.
And that's kind of where we're kind of deciding our next step right now.
I love that so much. I mean, it's funny that we're talking about this dichotomy and this balance, because my brain's literally asking simultaneous questions of like the spiritual path and all of that. But then I'm also like, so how did you start a business? Like I also want to know that, because I have a big audience of entrepreneurs and coaches and people trying to start memberships or courses or masterminds. And it's
Love
like,
it.
How did you begin the practice of earning an income from this? And what did that look like in the beginning? And what does it look like now?
I charged $1 a minute. So it was 2016. I got back from living in India. I had a good partnership with Core Power Yoga. So I was traveling to all their yoga studios and teaching active meditation workshops, which I still do. So my signature program, which we kind of talked about in the beginning, which is going to be open for enrollment when this comes out, is the Aligned Coaching Certification. And it's where you become a certified meditation teacher and spiritual psychology coach. It's a full-on meditation teacher training. And then I weave in all the best classes that I took at Columbia, because it's not essential for somebody to spend $300,000 on a master's degree when you can join the certification, get the tools you need, whether you're on a spiritual journey, whether you want to become a certified coach, whether you are already a coach and you want new tools. So the whole intention of creating that program was this deep calling to have more teachers.
Yes.
And not just any teachers, but teachers that could do the dance of Eastern ritual and Western psychology. But at the core of everything that I share, it doesn't matter if you're in flight, fight, or freeze. Mm-hmm. So we always start with meditation, specifically active meditation. I love a silent seated practice. It's a little bit better for men. Women, we have to open up our shoulders and hips. It is so essential. There's a reason why our ancestors dance. There's a reason why our ancestors moved into sacred prostration. So different bowing movements. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why we would come together and bleed into the earth in the red tent. So honoring our lineage. I was just, I had a keynote this past weekend in front of 300 women. And somebody said to me, wow, you're a really good storyteller. And something about being a storyteller is, in our modern day world, we call it marketing.
Right.
And we water down the medicine of it all. And the truth is, come back to the miracle, come back to the stories, because this is what we're woven with.
Yeah.
So my story, I charged $1 a minute starting in 2016 when I was beginning my master's program. I was educating so much on meditation and yoga because that's what I was most comfortable with. And then after I finished my degree, we would dive a lot deeper into emotional intelligence, positive psychology, conflict mediation, listening theory. And the story is I paid off my student loans the same month I graduated.
Wow.
And a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs, like beautiful people that are intuitive and healers, and they want to share the medicine on your heart, on their hearts, would naturally come to me. And the business coaching, and I always think like, call it whatever you want. It's like, I think I'm a midwife of the soul. If that's the pathway beautiful. That we need to do it. And also marketing is shifting. I think so often, yes, my soulmate clients are on TikTok and Instagram, if you will, but also they're learning that social media drains them.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to connect to your soulmate clients. And that's topical in 2025. So that definitely shifts the strategy, right? Like affiliate marketing, podcast tours, sit down and write the damn book.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to kind of tell your soulmate clients to signal to them, hey, I'm the person that can help shepherd the wisdom of your heart. And that's kind of how it all started for me, really authentic, of taking on soulmate clients that wanted to do the deep work. So that was one. Soulmate clients that wanted to build a brand to increase their income and impact. And just a commentary on currency, right? There's a reason why this is verbiage of water. So currency, Kabbalah teaches that if you are struggling with abundance, there has to be a give and a receive. So there's current to it. That's why we call it currency. And there's also two forms of tzedakah. And I think so often tzedakah is when you, and a lot of organized religion, will donate 10% of their earnings to the church, to a synagogue, to their temple, to their community. And that's also the same thing of giving and receiving, giving and receiving. Tzedakah also says, Kabbalah also says that you can give with your undivided attention. So in a time when we are so hyper-focused on currency, on abundance and money, your time, your undivided attention is the medicine, is the magic. Putting down your phone, offering intuitive questions, offering your eye contact, rolling your shoulders back, heart towards the heavens. And also, so often when we're trying to listen to somebody, we try to be relatable and wait 60 to 90 seconds, right? Offer follow-up questions, offer your undivided attention. And then we move into the relation, we move into the relatable. So I think once we understand that we can expand ourselves as the vessel, understands that abundance really is currency and keeping things in the current, not to hold on to all your dollars, but to put it back into the ecosystem that has an energetic capacity. And then it expands you so you can hold more soulmate clients, more abundance, more miracles, because that really is your birthright.
So good. So good. Oh my gosh. I want to ask you so many questions right now, but let's go back to the very beginning, simply because I always love to just teach from like the most beginner level, right? You said you teach active meditation. I know what that means, but can you explain that for the listeners?
I teach a very specific framework. I call it up-level meditation. It's geared for people with ADD, ADHD, anxiety, depression, compulsive negative thought patterns, AKA the modern day being. Yeah. And it is a combination of setting the scene. So this is so important. In this lineage, I typically educate on chanting 3 ohms. There's a vibration to ah, oh, ah, first and second chakra. So the chakra is a Sanskrit word. It means an energetic wheel. But what we also know in clinical psychology is our body holds meaning and holds, people will say, well, holds trauma, but it holds stories.
Yeah.
Right? It holds stories of your ancestors. It holds stories of your karma, which is just what you're carrying from past lives, what you accrued in your actions in this life. So ah is the first and second chakra. U is your stomach and heart. Throat, third eye center, crown. Just a little caveat on this. All organized religion sets the scene in a different way. Before we walk into a temple, we may wash our feet. Before we have a meal, we may wash our hands. Before eating or drinking something, we may say a prayer, thanking God for this meal, maybe speaking our affirmations into our water and drinking it, changing your socks, like whatever you need to do, put on your grandmother's shawl, set the scene. And this in itself signals to yourself and the world around you that this is your devotion. This is your prayer. This is separation. And separation is a really positive thing. That in itself changes the vibration of your inner codes and the room that you're in. So you set the scene. Standing active, which is going to open up the shoulders and hips. Seated active, which is going to increase flexibility of the spine. Chanting meditation will be woven in somewhere, intuitive, authentic, whatever feels good in that moment, because you need to honor how you're feeling that day. And then preparing your body for more of a silent seated meditation. And that can be scanning of your body. That could be yoga nidra. That could be a rainbow meditation. That could be a loving kindness meditation. And then a couple moments of silence. So this is doing the needed work to receive the download, and then you can make informed decisions from there. It's a magical practice. I recommend 18 minutes. 18 is chai. It is like life force energy. So in Judaism, we say chai. It's like to life. You are being an active participant in your own life. And then scientifically, all viral content, a powerful TED Talk, it's typically around 18 minutes long. So to learn a new powerful habit and have it ingrained in your system, 18 minutes. I'm a new mama. If I need to do 9 minutes in the morning, 9 minutes in the afternoon, or 4.5, whatever it is, you can be cute with it, but honor that time frame.
So good. So good. And I love the permission to break it up, right? Because so many people think that are new to meditation, like I can't even imagine 18 minutes. What has your experience been for your own life, but also for your clients when somebody goes from not having a meditation practice to really implementing a consistent meditation practice? What happens?
This is why it's so important. This is why I'm just at the point in my career where I honestly, I don't work with somebody unless they have a devoted spiritual practice. You become a different person. You're relaxing the amygdala, the back center of the brain. It's an almond shape. This is your flight, fright, or freeze. The second, like even right now, if you take a moment and you breathe into the depths of your lower belly and you breathe into your upper chest and you exhale through your mouth and you let it go, lower belly, upper chest, exhale through the mouth. That, 6 to 8 second practice provides abundant oxygen to the frontal cortex. This signals to your body that it's safe to relax. And you can say at the same time, I am safe, even if you don't believe it. I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. Once you are regulated and you can get quiet, you may recognize that you've been running on autopilot and movement nonstop for days, months, decades, right? Like years that add up to decades. And when you pause, and the pause is very uncomfortable for a lot of people, so lean into that. You're healing your lineage. You begin to hear the whispers of your inner guru. And from those whispers comes the aligned action. In Kabbalah, we call this divine agency. So miracles can occur through God as you understand it, but also through people. And that is what divine agency looks like. It looks like Moses walking into the Red Sea and trusting that the sea is going to split. This looks like seeing somebody, like a woman who looks frazzled in the grocery store, asking her if she's okay, and her saying, yeah, I can't find my kid. Right? Like somewhere running around. There's someone running around in the grocery store, and then you can help them in that moment. So divine agency is miracles typically happen through a greater power and or through people. So that's how it kind of flows. But it requires this pause, especially when it comes to business. You need to launch offerings that are authentic to you and not what other people are doing in the world. You need to come back into storytelling and not marketing. There's too much out there, and it's like, it doesn't even feel good, right? We're all competing based on, authentic marketing in this program or intuitive marketing in this program, or like I have a program called Sacred Leadership. Like there's just different ways to go about it. And all of it is medicine. You need to work with people who resonate with you. And none of that matters because your greatest guru, your greatest teacher is depth with yourself and depth with God as you understand it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This is incredible. Like, it's blowing my mind and just bringing me home, right? Like bringing me back to the knowingness that I know. So it's so interesting. We were just having this, my husband and I were having this conversation last night. So we've got high schoolers getting ready to go college recruiting, the whole, like, it's just a crazy world they're getting ready to step into or are in. And we kept saying last night, you know, you have to lead with God. Like, you have to keep bringing it back to knowing what is the path versus the voices in your heads and the friends. And I said, yeah, I was like, but they don't know that yet. Like, we've given them the foundation, but they don't really have the life experience yet to know how to discern what is the pros and cons list in my head. And this person offering this deal and my friend saying it's the best deal, versus the knowingness in your soul that something isn't the right path and this other thing might be the right path. Because my experience has always been the greatest successes, the greatest miracles, the greatest turns in the road for me have been when everyone's telling me yes and something's telling me no, or the vice versa. So how do you explain to anyone, how do you decipher the voice, the knowingness, the whisper from the world?
That's so beautiful. And I have so much compassion for teenagers trying to decide where to go to school right now. It's just different. It's just a different world, right? So, and I'll even share for me, I went to, for undergrad, I went to the University of Pittsburgh, which was it's a little bit random coming from Chicago. It's the #1 school for pre-physical therapy.
Oh, wow.
And I was on like this pre-med, pre-physical therapy track.
I was
and
on that pre-med track too, Erin.
Isn't that so funny?
It's
like how you
interesting
start there.
when you're a healer, right? You don't know you're born a healer or a teacher. And the world tells you medicine, right? That's what you see. You think that's how I'm going to do it. And then we pivot and there's a deeper level for us. That's so interesting.
I resonate with that so deeply. My husband has a similar story to this as well. So many healers. You're so right. And I think there's also some ego to it. Like when you're a doctor, you're a doctor the rest of your life. I thank God that, I got a C in chemistry and I worked really hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, I worked really hard and I got a C in chemistry. I'm not down for this for the next 4 years.
Right.
So like I immediately switched out, which is just so laughable and funny to me because you make this big decision. And then and college was hard for me. Undergrad was hard for me. And I think that led me to who I am today. Kabbalah teaches that the obstacles you move through, the trauma, and I know we wish so many things in the past didn't happen, it's carving you for you to become who you are. We are obsessed with positive psychology. We are obsessed with happiness in the West. And it's okay to find meaning in your suffering. It's okay to not feel great all the time. It's good to sometimes be neutral. Of course, you can shift energy and you can bring meaning to anything. I think spiritual practice is so important on any day, but especially the bad days. And if we kind of had this in the West, if we had this understanding that it's okay to feel sad in the wintertime, it's okay to feel stressed and a little bit anxious when you have big decisions to make in your life, or there's heightened things happening around you. It's okay to experience that feeling state. And are you doing the needed work to breathe into the depths of your lower belly, to walk yourself home, to bring in depth to yourself and the world around you, to ask life's bigger questions, to give yourself the opportunity to zoom out for a little bit? So you asked the question of listening to your inner wisdom.
Yeah.
And my answer to you is it's okay to choose again, to think that you are on this right path and to do the thing that was best for you in that moment, whether that was take the job, whether that was eat the comfort meal, whether that was like watching Netflix and letting yourself kind of zone out for a little bit. We have to have compassion here. We're human beings having a human experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, but it's okay to do your human things because one of the greatest spiritual practices of all is you can reserve the right to change your mind. And this is what I write about, like essentially in the last chapter of my book. Here are all the spiritual practices, and you are constantly learning. You are constantly growing. So often research said that your brain is forming until your early 30s. But when you're on the spiritual path, neuroplasticity constantly shifts. So you are continuously becoming upgraded version of self. We know this when you're married, right? The man that I married, my husband, John, like we are, from when we met, we are so many different versions of ourselves over and over and over again. And then it's fun because like you keep falling in love and kind of getting to these greater heights. And then also your brain is transforming at the same time. So go out in nature. I'll share a very specific practice. There's a practice called Hitbodedut. It's a Kabbalistic practice, but a lot of organized religion has a similar practice where you go out into the world, you go out into nature and you speak word of conscious, stream of conscious to God as you understand it. And this is one way where you can connect to that inner wisdom, that inner voice. You have to pay attention. I do encourage you to speak out loud and you don't need to quote unquote catch God up. Like energy around you knows what's going on. So you can always speak from that place. And then in a Hitbodedut practice, there's a rawness, right? You don't, like you present your fullest self. So there's no need to edit. It oftentimes can lead to an emotional breakthrough, and then pay attention for the next 48 hours to see what symbols, conversations, miracles drop into your path.
Wow. So I hear obviously stream of consciousness when we journal. And I think that even sometimes is challenging for people to just stream of consciousness, but to say that out loud audibly, I mean, that's powerful, really powerful. I love that. So when you do this practice, how long are you going for?
So in a Freudian model, oftentimes when you think of modern day psychology, psychotherapy, you think of somebody laying on the couch and speaking word of mouth to a therapist, mentor, coach, guide. That's a very Freudian model. And there's a reason why these sessions are 60 to 90 minutes.
Yep.
And same with journaling. It's like first you kind of start with your grocery list, and then you talk about the conflict that you had. Then you bring meaning to the conflict that you had. Then you think about what was it about the conflict that brought kind of devastation into your life or triggered you or excited you. So for somebody that's newer to this, I do recommend a Hitbodedut session to be a little bit longer, let's say 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But once you practice it more, you can kind of drop to the seat of it a bit quicker.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I feel like that's the case with every practice, right? Especially meditation. It's like, it takes a long time to get there in the beginning, but then once you have that kind of in you, it's just boom, you're right there. This is so amazing to me, just what you've done with what you've put together, this certification. I want to talk about that. I want to dig into that a little bit deeper. So you're not only working with clients one-on-one, but you're offering kind of a teacher training certification model. Can you talk about what that looks like?
Yeah, I'll do business coaching one-on-one for a true soulmate client.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's available on my website, but you can just DM me on Instagram. But so ACC is truly my signature offering. There's no other program like this that exists on the market. It's truly came from this deep, it was like 2018. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't keep doing this one-on-one spiritual coaching, this spiritual counseling. Like there's so many people.
Yes.
There has to be more leaders in this space. What can I create to provide a strong foundation for leaders to feel like they have the tools, they're on their own spiritual journey, and they can share from this place of authority of like they did the work and they know how to support somebody that wants to get to their next level of self. So I created a foundational program, and so this is going to be my 8th time running it. So it's not new, right?
Once a year.
I do it once a year, and it's a school year long program. So doors are open August 1st to 13th. It's an application process. Every single person talks to me. It's heavily vetted. And I think that's why it's such a successful program. But like we just ran a think tank. After every container, we do so much market research. We're constantly improving it. For the confidence, for the clarity. So a lot of people will join ACC for their own spiritual growth because it's a radical program. It's a full-on meditation. So term 1 is a meditation teacher training. It's 8 weeks long. Then we move into the spiritual psychology immersion. And the magic of the spiritual psychology immersion is to ignite your curiosity. So it's Eastern ritual and it's marriage to Western psychology. The first week of term 2 is all about habits and mindset. And then we dive into the Eastern chakra system and its marriage to Western psychology. So term 2, week 2, it's the Muladhara chakra, safety, security, comfort, food, shelter, your basic needs that must be met in the modern day world. That's going to be clothing and Wi-Fi and like your comfort needs, like electricity, right? And it's marriage to Maslow's hierarchy. So why did Maslow, which is still, Abraham Maslow is still one of the greatest Western educators. Please keep in mind that so much of clinical psychology in the West is based on European white men.
Yes.
So it's not going to be relevant to the female brain. And we talk about that in ACC. But we will still use the old, like, I always present it with the signature clinical psychology of the West and then bring in modern day research and examples. So Maslow essentially said, you need this foundation to work your way upwards to self-actualization, to enlightenment, to what spirituality and the chakra system would say, thoughts of heaven, honoring your lineage, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, bringing in Freud, bringing in Maslow, having this strong foundation of what clinical psychology in the West is. And then we get to like week 3 of term 2, which is the second chakra, which is we talk about cycle syncing and different archetypes and cycle syncing is the female menstruation system and how there has to be education on it. So term 2 is really fun.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. Eastern ritual married to Western psychology. Term 3 is so term 1 and term 3 are very grounded, masculine. Term 2 is more feminine, whimsical, curiosity, someone that loves to learn and is hungry to learn. But term 3 is our signature framework. So positive psychology, listening theory, emotional intelligence, Gestalt, empty chair model, manifestation frameworks, where if somebody were to bring this work to Google, Salesforce, Nike, and offer a corporate wellness session, they have a whole worksheet and framework they could follow to increase happiness in the workspace. Or if they took on a one-on-one client that's struggling with not feeling heard or seasonal depression or trying to heal conflict with a family member, they are guided on a Gestalt model. And Gestalt was brought to the world by Fitz Perel. And Fitz Perel is an amazing educator because he essentially said, like, feel how you feel and feel that feeling more and more and more and more. And if you don't feel that feeling, it's going to lead to neuroses.
Yes.
And if you don't feel that feeling, you end up being inauthentic and fake. So he brought to the world this model called Gestalt, which is using almost like theatrics of an empty chair to lead into healing and conflict mediation with somebody who is opposite your own conflict. And that's like, I'm diving into a lot more depth, but term 4 is the business and clinical immersion because we don't want to just offer the tools. It's supporting them to go out and share. So what does it look like to pitch a yoga studio or a corporate company? What does it look like to take on one-on-one clients? And then also getting into the clinical part of it where you are acting, you are moving into case studies and playing out what it would look like to support somebody through their own transformation. It's an amazing program. If this resonates, just DM me on Instagram. I'm always authentic if I think it's a good fit for someone. But a lot of so it's a lot of therapists, a lot of coaches, a lot of health coaches, a lot of yogis, a lot of nurses. I had one cohort where half the cohort was nurses. I think it attracts like a really special group of people. Always.
Wow. I mean, I can tell you right now, there's nothing out there like this. Nothing. I mean, I'm always, doing my own research just to see, because I'm, like you said, I'm such a hungry learner and I just always want to just consume more and more and more and different practices and different ways. And, every teacher teaches even the same things differently. And I've never seen anything like what you're doing come together. So it is, I just want to encourage anybody listening to definitely, we'll link like in our show notes, everything, how to get in contact with you and all of that. How many people usually go through a cohort?
So we keep it small.
Yeah.
So it's about 20 to 30 people.
That's
we
perfect.
keep it intimate. We keep it connected. There's always small pods of learning and connection.
Yeah.
That's so important to me. We have people all around the world in diverse time zones, but it's connecting with me. It's connecting with my small team of support coaches that have been with me forever and ever and ever that also went through the program and also have their own thriving businesses. But I think so often people see these programs and you don't connect to the creator of it.
Yes.
And I just, it's working with me in the most intimate high level way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So amazing. So we're dropping this podcast kind of just so happens to be at the perfect time. So do you have something that people can opt into right before your offering opens?
Yes. So I educate a lot on miracles, and I think
Love that.
there's people in the spiritual community that can kind of talk about miracle mindset, and it's very whimsical and in the ether. And I love that for them. That doesn't resonate with me. I like things that are very rooted and very grounded, where I can go out into the world and talk to somebody in a physical body. There's a reason why we're not spirits bopping around. We are in a human physical form. I know my work is to take very massive aligned action and be in my physical female body, kind of sharing these things. So when I talk about miracles, I'll make it quite biblical, and I'll share biblical stories from the Torah, stories that we all know, but don't know the key words of. And then I talk a lot about truth, especially raw truth. And the reason I talk about that is because a lot of the magic occurs in our unedited, raw, in-depth conversations. So this specific masterclass, we're going to talk about miracles. We're going to talk about how there's so many obvious miracles, even you and I connecting right now and having this conversation, and maybe it spikes new thought, an intuitive hit, a new conversation for somebody who's listening. I know so often A Course in Miracles will talk about that a miracle is a shift from perspective, from fear to love. I think that's a beautiful way to explain it. And I like to talk about miracles as this is all a miracle.
Yeah.
Even the shit that you don't want.
Yes.
It gives you personality. I've been through a lot. I'm sure you've been through a lot. It's your traumas make you interesting. It's hard to swallow sometimes, but that's why it's there. Yeah. Anyways, so I have a 2-day miracle masterclass coming up. Wow. It's on Friday, August 1st, and then Monday, August 4th, happening at noon Eastern time. And we're going to dive into the importance of 40-day spiritual practice. Ooh. We're going to talk about rewiring the subconscious mind. We're going to be talking about manifestation in a very grounded way. I manifested my husband, my book deal through traditional publishing, living this super freedom-based lifestyle right now, connecting with you, all of these things truly are manifestations. And I hear from people in my community all the time about the specific framework that I teach, which you also become trained in ACC, and how it has brought miracles into their own life. So you can join me for that completely free miracle masterclass. It's a free event. I'll give you the link. You'll have all that info. Amazing. And then doors open for the Aligned Coaching Certification, where you become a certified meditation teacher and spiritual psychology coach, August 1 to 13. And it's going to launch with early action pricing of $2,000 off and a slew of other bonuses. So just make sure you are applying and connecting with me, and you are in my world, and you are signing up during that time.
Amazing, 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 amazing. I will be there. That miracle workshop masterclass. I mean, you and I think so much alike. It's I feel that you probably are called, and you feel called as I do, to teach the spiritual and what a lot of people would interpret as the woo, and really drilling it down to we're talking science here. We're talking things that we can measure. We're not talking about, some of it is abstract, but it doesn't have to all be abstract, and really just boiling it down, especially for the people that are like you and I, more masculine in our presence and in who we are operating in the world as. And just everything you said, I was it was hitting all the bells and whistles for me. So I love that. We'll link all of it in the show notes, all of it.
So I'll ground that sentiment for anyone who's listening. It's if you talk to a nutritionist or a health coach or a dietitian, and they say, this is what happens when you eat gluten, right? We can do all this testing. We could put patches on your back. We could do a stool sample. We could do a FODMAP diet, whatever. So all of this science can tell you of what happens in your body when you eat gluten. Or you can eat gluten and you can ask yourself, how do I feel?
Right.
And I think that's so true. It's how do you feel after you hang out with your high school friend when you two took, completely different directions? You maybe voted for different people in this past election. You maybe eat in a different way. How do you feel after you hang out with them? Is it the best feeling of seeing a friend that has known you your whole entire life? Or is it oh my God, we are in literally two different realities.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's like you can eat something, see how you feel. It's the conversations that you're feeding yourself. You can see how you feel. It's this watching the news or, my husband, we just watched season 3 of White Lotus.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Did you watch it?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. So like we've been traveling so much. We have this rental outside of Chicago for the summer before we start traveling again, which is like so crazy. I'm really calling in like a dream home and grounding, but we finally are in a season in our life. My daughter does not sleep through the night, but like she goes to sleep and stays asleep until about 3 a.m. So we have this like nice window between 8:15 and 9:15 p.m. where we can watch a show or we read or we connect or whatever. So we watched season 3 of White Lotus and it's just too intense.
Yes.
And like I'm having crazy dreams and like I get too attached to the characters and these like really sad, scary things happen, like let alone modern day news.
Yes.
So these are also things that you're feeding yourself.
Yeah.
So how do you feel after you watch the news or a charged show? How do you feel after a conversation with somebody you're aligned with versus not aligned with? How do you feel after feeding yourself gluten, right? So the science can tell you what's happening in your brain. If your heart rate is picking up, if you are perspiring more, if your digestion is slow, what your bowel movements look like, or just ask yourself, how do I feel?
Yeah. I love this so much and I can so relate. I literally had this experience last night, Erin. So I went to bed too late. I hit pause on my Netflix at one moment. I was like, and I thought about it all morning. I was like, first of all, I get way too attached to characters like you just said. But second of all, this is no more. Like, or I need to take a break, right? Like this is not making me feel good physically, emotionally, spiritually, all the things. I'm like, but without a coach or a guide, and this is kind of where I want to land the plane, is your growth when you have a teacher, a guide, a coach, a mentor is 100-fold versus just us with us, right? We can say, you know what? That didn't feel good. I'm not going to watch Netflix anymore, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And it's so much harder. It's like you're literally paddling upstream every day, trying to make these shifts and changes for yourself. The difference, because I've had this experience, the difference of being in a community, being guided by somebody, it's like you jumped in the river and you're just going downstream without much effort. And the changes are happening just like at warp speed. That's the difference. I mean, there is no greater decision that you can make than to join some type of membership or hire a coach or a mentor or a guide. It is the fast track to everything everybody is looking for. So I am so excited about this program. I'm so excited about your masterclass. We're going to link everything in the show notes. I am so grateful for this last 45 minutes just to have time with you, to connect with you, and for you sharing all of this with not only my audience, but the world. Your work that you're doing in the world is so needed. And I'm just so appreciative of all of it.
Oh my God, you're the best. It's so fun to be here and to be present with you. It's the absolute greatest joy of my life.
Oh,
I love it all.
Thank you. Well, Erin, thank you so much again for joining. We're going to link everything in the show notes. Erin already mentioned it. I'm the same way. Like DM us on Instagram. We would love to chat. We would love to connect. What did you take away from this episode? Share it on your story. Share it with a friend. That's really how you pay these gifts forward. Just pass along these little nuggets because you never know. You never know when you're going to change somebody's life. So Erin, thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We will see you next week. Bye, guys.